Alright, welcome back. So here's the deal. Banu has beaten Alok 10-0, and now they're gonna play again. It's a 3-game series. Let's see what happens. So here's game 1. Banu is white, and here we go. King's opening. I don't know what it's even called, but queen out right off the bat, typical Banu style, going for the jugular, and kind of outstretched bishop. Okay, Alok calmly deflects the queen away, but he stays on the hunt, giving up the central pawn, potentially. And he takes it. Alok snatches the pawn, and Banu just shifts. He's a smooth criminal. He just moves one step at a time. Very nice move there by Alok, defending the knight and attacking the queen at the same time. You always want to make double-edged moves like that. It's always better. Except on this point, actually, the central pawn is for the taking. He can take it with check because the knight is pinned by the bishop. So, alright, he changed the order, but basically it's the same idea. Now, which is better between these two alternatives? I would say that taking the pawn upright is probably slightly better. It'll probably end up being the same thing eventually anyway, but maybe not. Yeah, see, what would happen is queen takes, maybe bishop defends. If it's queen defense, the dynamics might be different because of this deep threat here. But yeah, anyway, whatever, who cares? So he takes it, and okay, Banu defends with the pawn. Probably not a bad move. I wonder if I would have chosen this pawn instead. No, yeah, I really think choosing this pawn instead might be slightly better just from a pawn structure perspective. Now this is a pretty insightful point here that I'm about to make. You always want your pawns to have good abilities to do magical stuff as the game progresses. Okay, I'm totally talking bullshit because I actually didn't know what I was saying. I just pretended like I knew some great theoretical concept, but I don't. So let's get back to the game. If I move the pawn up instead of this, okay, right now let's say if he takes, then you potentially have a kind of structure like this against his 3 pawns deck. Fine, well and good, but his king should be able to handle it all. On the other hand, he will have like these 4 pawns heading against these 3. Now I know they're a little bit chaotic here, but they are likely to force this king to have to move in this direction, which will I think eventually potentially lead to the king moving in a favorable direction here. So it gets pretty double-edged is what I'm trying to say. It's not clear. Now conversely, if he had moved this pawn up first, and then you take queen, queen, now you got a pawn structure which might look something like that, which will easily fend off against these guys. But on this side, you'll have only 2 versus his 3. However, your king is already in the action, so you're actually in a favorable king managing side here. So I think I prefer that. That's a very subtle, deep endgame point, and it is instructive actually. So you're welcome. All right, things are going pretty nicely for both sides. I would say it's kind of on an even keel here. One thing I don't like about Alok's position is that his bishop is really locked in, but it's not really such a big deal. It's not a big deal. I mean, his position has dynamic potential. Let me just put it that way. He can spring out of this little bind fairly quickly, and okay, that's maybe a little bit of a wild move. I don't think that's necessary, but it's really not that bad either. Actually, it kind of cramps Alok's king side up. I'm mutual against that. But taking this knight here, totally the wrong idea. You want to keep that bishop on the board, I'm pretty sure. Of course, I get it, yeah. His knight would become kind of annoying if you were to get there. You'd have to do these kind of clumsy moves. So maybe there's some merit. I'm not going to analyze it in too much detail. But as you can see, Alok's bishop pair is becoming pretty effective. You know, getting a lot of different targets. Alok is using the bishop pair very well. Okay, tip the knight. I don't think this is such a hot idea because, well, what do you do after? Oh, sheesh. Well, he blundered. It's a different story. But the point is, after he moves rook there, then I think you can just defend the knight like this and hold on to the pawn. Even if he comes here with the bishop, then you just move up again, and when he releases the bishop, then you just move your knight away. So you solve this problem over here, but you lose the bishop pair. So that's why instead of taking that knight, if I were black, I would have first maybe adjusted the rook, you know? You got more pieces directly involved. His knight really doesn't know what it can do. It'll have to come here, just an interesting looking square, but well, you can never tell with these knights. It's always risky to underestimate them. But anyway, here he makes a blunder and Alok makes another blunder. I mean, he could simply just take the knight here. But anyway, they're friends, so no worries. Alok is in danger of getting a little bit too cute with his bishop. I mean, it's fine when you have the bishop pair. If you want to be cute, keep the bishop pair, because that will really get your opponent on all these on edge. But it's a very tense game here, actually. It's a very interesting position. You got basically an even pawn structure on the queen side, and black has the extra pawn here. So Alok is ahead in the game. And even on position, Alok has better control because his rooks are going to control this file. So white is definitely on the defensive here, trying to somehow do something. And I guess the tricky knight has got to play a big role in that. So one move which comes to mind here is pawn up to kind of make this bishop have to go somewhere. It'll have to go here. And then you come here and check. And your rook is attacking the bishop, FYI. So when his king moves up, you gotta do something. Maybe knight here, yeah, knight here attacking the rook and the bishop at the same time. He moves the rook away, and now your rook takes that extra piece. So you win a piece, potentially. And because of that winning a piece potential, Alok might have to think of something more creative to counter this. There's not a whole lot. Maybe bishop take, simply. But if I were in Alok's shoes in this position, I would just move it back, because Banu's not going to see all this. No way, right? Let's see. Yeah, it's too advanced. It's fine. Don't think of it as an insult or whatever. I'm just, oh, he did see it eventually, but now it's too late because the rook needed to be here. Now he has the square, so he can hold on. So it's messed up. A small detail, but makes all the difference. Okay, well, somehow the same idea is playing out in some fashion, and it's kind of interesting here, actually. I think black is in a little bit of trouble, so let's see how Banu handles it. Obviously check first. And now, oh, going for that pawn. I'm not so sure that's such a hot move. Your knight, I mean, sure you can take it, but your knight is getting pushed to the edge of the board. You don't want to always do that. You know, the side pawns, okay, there's a passed pawn in this case, but if it weren't a passed pawn, the side pawns are typically the lowest in value. It's like a half pawn. It has it's much weaker. Your knight is a strong piece. You want to keep it in the game, somewhere nearby. With this move, you're at risk of putting your pieces too far off center and getting just choked up in the middle unexpectedly. It happens all the time. So taking that is not the right idea. I think knight here would be better. Potentially just trading the bishop. And your rook can take this pawn anyway later with check and get that pawn too, and maybe even one of these. So, alright. Oh! He came into the trap, and there we go. Tricky knight. Always. You can never rule out a tricky knight. So now now he's getting a little bit sloppy here, Banu. I mean, he didn't need to. He's getting a bit too cute for his own good. This is, yeah. And even the pawn push, it's kind of like well, it's not so bad, I guess. Okay, and he gets the bishop. So this is going to be a pretty quick win from here, although you never know with these guys. Okay, now it should be a pretty quick win. Oh, he's going to do the double strategy. He takes the pawn first. Come on, be a pro. Just check and check. Don't, you know, it's that Dexter and Banu. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Okay, there we go. Checkmate. Well done. Whoop-de-doo. You gotta finish off more quicker than that, bro. Alright, we'll move on to game 2 in a bit.